Then we got the women's segment. It can't all be on YouTube, can it? So Britt Baker said that Reba, which is Rebel, is going to face Big Swole. If Big Swole can beat Reba, then she gets the match with Britt Baker. This was announced last week. And Rebel has a match with Swole. It's a comedy match, goes a couple of minutes. In kayfabe, she's a makeup and hair person. She's not a former wrestler, but she is. She was in TNA, and she wrestles as if she doesn't know how to wrestle and keeps fluking out good moves. And then Big Swole eventually won with just a forearm, and it's like, this is funny. This is a funny thing. It made Big Swole look a bit rubbish because she was beaten up so much by someone who's not a professional athlete. But I love the Baker stuff. This didn't really make me want to see Swole versus Baker more, but whatever. What the real pain here is that it was the only women's segment on the show. The same week that your all women's tag team tournament launched, you had nothing. You had no mention, no recap, no promo package of this supposedly industry pushing forward thing. And the day later, or on the same day, actually, AEW announced AEW Heels, a paid-for subscription service, which is meant to provide a community for female-identifying fans to feel welcome in, which is a great idea. A great, and the idea that you have to pay for it, I've seen some people be against, but if it is a sort of platform that helps develop you within the business, that is very standard. It's a professional thing. That's the vibe I got from it, because it's got like seminars and stuff like that.
It's got meet and greets. Like, you would pay to go to at Comic-Con, you would pay to meet people.
Yeah, it's not the price that's bad here. It's that it just feels like hypocritical in a way that we're the ones to teach you how to get ahead in women's wrestling, when your flagship show treats them as a massive afterthought.
Yeah, this was not a great week for AEW and their women's division. Kicking things off with that, putting it onto a YouTube show when you kind of you sort of advertised it on TV, and then said, actually, no, it's going to be on YouTube. So, and then you don't recap it on this show. This match is under 4 minutes, and it's the only women's wrestling on the show. It's it's actually a shambles. It is quite bad. And as you say, like, especially coming off the back of the really negative press that they got for AEW Heels, which was not helped by Cody responding to people. Really, like, it was bad form on Cody's part to respond to people in the way that, like, not just responding, but in the way that he responded to people as well, in such a dismissive manner, I thought was actively damaging. I thought it was a really, really bad show.
But it's so baffling because they are so good at listening to every other bit of criticism, to the extent where we'll criticize a slight thing. There's a few people complaining online about one little tiny thing, and then the week after they've changed it and made it much better. But we've been criticizing their women's division and the presentation of it since the start, and they make worse mistakes. I don't get it.
Well, no, and it's, there was the tweet replies that you brought up in the news, which was that, like, you have a platform. It's called your TV show, and you've done absolutely nothing to better women's wrestling. I've got no issue with Heels, particularly if it is sort of designed not just for female fans to have a safe space, because the fact of the matter is, you and I would wager probably a lot of the people that are watching this show will never know what it's like to be a female wrestling fan in such a male dominated space and to feel unsafe at times. Like, we will never know what that is like. And I think that the AEW sort of providing a safe space where they can sort of enjoy wrestling and enjoy wrestling together, I think is actually a really good thing. And if it is sort of designed to sort of like how to improve yourself and as a wrestler to try and sort of like make bigger strides, Brandy's doing like a social media seminar, although, I mean, first of all, don't do what Cody did. I mean, sort of like,
here's our guest speaker, the Iron Sheik.
So like, but so the price, and like, as I said, like meet and greets and things like that. Like I've paid to meet people at signings and stuff like that. So, and it's $50 for the year. Some people have misreported it as $50 a month, which is staggeringly. Like, if it was $50 a month, then it's nonsense. People pay a lot of subscription service for a lot worse things than that. But the key point to this is that you launched this supposedly groundbreaking women's tag team division tournaments, whatever it is. And the 2 matches went out there, weren't great. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But you can edit around that in a video package to kind of tell people to go and watch it on your TV show that's watched by more people. And they didn't. Louis said this morning, if you are watching this show and it's your first time watching it, do you know who the women's champion is?
Yeah.
And you don't. You know who the world champion is. You know who the TNT champion is. You know who the tag champs are. No idea who the women's champion is, though. And they got 3 minutes, under 4 minutes for this match. So it's unacceptable.
It's almost like we're being trolled. It's staggering that a company that seems to have so many values in place can fail so spectacularly in such a big way.
Yeah,
but we've gone very long already. We should probably do the main event and all the Snapchats.
The other thing, all the Snapchats. The other thing on that as well,
all the TikToks.
Is next week is Tag Team Appreciation Night. You're doing a women's tag team tournament. There's nothing of that on next week's show because next week they announced it's Cody versus Sky for the TNT title, Cassidy and Jericho, Paige and Omega versus Jurassic Express, and Dark Order versus the Young Bucks, with the Rock and Roll Express and Anderson and Tully Blanchard having sort of like an in-ring segment. No women's matches announced for next week, not even when you're running a women's tag team tournament and it's Tag Team Appreciation Night.
Yeah.
Open goal.
Yeah, it is. That's what it is. It's the open goal thing.